In a chaotic and hectic world, everybody has numerous difficulties and barriers. There are moments when we think that life is tough and painful. However, have you ever wondered, why is it that some people seem to handle adversity better than others? It's possible that immunity against suffering holds the key to the solutions. Being resilient to adversity is not the only aspect of distress immunity. Instead, it is a capability that aids in overcoming obstacles in life, successfully similar to how the body develops immunity to fend off illness. Additionally, our thoughts might become immune to pain. We experience both physical and mental suffering throughout life. Painful physical discomfort is possible. Exhaustion or other discomforts, mental anguish can be brought on by anxiety, stress, or disappointment. Building immunity to suffering begins with an understanding of its causes and strategies for resolving them. We will encounter examples of people with a strong immunity to hardship in the story that follows, and see how they overcame challenges in life, whether it's the tale of a veteran who has suffered significant loss or a granny who leads a modest existence in the mountains. These personal stories will clarify for us that suffering is a necessary part of the process of developing immunity. However, it's a process that calls for constant practice and a shift in viewpoint. We cordially invite you to come along with us, to learn how to become more resilient to pain and to lead a better life while facing a variety of difficulties and roadblocks. A grandmother known to the locals as Grandma Smiling lived in a small town in the province of Fitsanulok. Her grin never went away. While Grandma's life has been filled with adversity. Alone on the mountain is Grandma. Her children relocated to the city to work in the capital. There is no electricity or running water in her home. She needed to use firewood to cook rice and employ oil lamps to provide illumination. A party of tourists stopped by the village one day and got to know Grandma. Curious, one of the visitors inquired, "Traveler Grandma, why do you always smile like this when life seems difficult?" Grandma grinned and laughed, saying, "Oh, my dear, it's not at all difficult. I've been here for a long time." Traveler, but on every Buddhist holy day, Grandma has to make a lengthy journey down the mountain. Aren't you tired? Grandma's smile, "Well, I'm used to it," she says with a big smile. Grandma has been ambulating since her early childhood until reaching this age. It's now such a pleasure. Another traveler, "What if Grandma becomes ill? Nobody is available to handle this." "Oh, don't worry," grinned Grandma. "Grandma has never had a significant illness. However, it's acceptable to be ill. I'm used to it." Traveler Grandma, "The rice cooker is leaking like this," pointing out the leak in the appliance. "Is it not challenging?" Granny's smile, "Oh, this one," she chuckles. "Grandma, all you have to do is flip the pot slightly to cook it. I'm used to it." Grandma's responses all demonstrate the resilience to pain she has accumulated over the course of her life. Instead of viewing things as an issue, she views them as a normal and accepted aspect of her existence. "Grandma, are you really happy when life is full of challenges?" inquired a repeating tourist. Warmly grinning, Grandma says, "Son, happiness is not based on material possessions, but how we see what we have will determine this." Grandma hears the birds singing and finds beauty in everyday life. Observe the sun come up and set. Grandma is happy with this. Grandma's experience shows us that embracing oneself and adjusting to one's surroundings can help one become immune to hardship, including adopting an optimistic perspective on the world, even though there are many challenges in life. Just as crucial as being resistant to sickness is being immune to misery. By contrast, immunity against pain is analogous to immunity against diseases brought on by repeated contact with microorganisms, until a barrier of defense was built. Whenever we experience pain repeatedly, we shall all learn and adjust, brains and bodies, prior to the development of immunity to pain. If we defend against unjustified suffering, similar to a child whose parents forbid him from playing with sand or clay, this situation occurs. Never experienced a germ exposure, the immune system won't have the chance to develop. Being ill is made easier by it. Likewise, if we consistently steer clear of pain, adversity, or trouble, it will weaken our thoughts such that they can no longer withstand pain. During the Dhamma practice course, fasting meals is one blatant example. After going without dinner for a few weeks, our bodies become accustomed to it and stop feeling as tortured as they did initially. Those who have never meditated, however, could find it difficult to accept missing supper. The body becomes more resilient and hunger-proof during this kind of fasting. Suffering is not limited to the physical realm. However, it also stems from understanding the right kind of trust. Distress that is typically brought on by negative or too analytical thinking. It has the potential to exacerbate mental illness. We can also develop an immunity against mental illness if we know how to regulate our ideas and viewpoints. Two veterans of that battle were returned home after the explosion severely hurt them. They are recuperating in hospital beds next to each other after losing their legs. Despite sharing the same physical attributes, their divergent viewpoints and attitudes produce entirely different psychological outcomes. The first soldier, with a dejected expression on his face, sat on the bed. He imagined a bleak future. He fears that he won't be able to do the things he used to do after his legs are gone. Life plans and dreams appear to be disintegrating. He felt stuck in an agony from which there was no way out as a result of this loss. Despite his anguish, the second soldier was the same. Rather, he saw opportunity in adversity. He is thankful to still be alive and ignores the loss. Despite losing my leg, he still has the opportunity to go on with his life and return to his family, though. In the shadows, he perceived brightness and make the decision to face the future and with hope in his life. A soldier is distressed by this shift in mindset. One person chooses to focus on the positive. Suffering and happiness are not always correlated with our circumstances. However, our response to it and our point of view are key factors. A shift in attitude and positivity are two effective strategies for making life changes, even under the most trying circumstances. Changing your perspective to focus on the good aspects of the situation. It does more than just ease our pain. However, it also strengthens our mental toughness, making us more resilient in any circumstance. The majority of the hardship we go through in life is typically psychological in nature. Greater than from outside happenings the fact that we have a pessimistic outlook on life and think I can't bear it when faced with difficulties. It invariably increases our sense of suffering. However, if we can teach our thoughts to see the environment in a good light and accept that it's very comfortable to bear, we will discover a discernible decrease in suffering. "I can endure it with ease" is the motto we should follow when training our minds, according to Luang Por Pazol, who had stated this from the very beginning. This phrase serves as a reminder that enduring the difficulties of today will provide consolation later on. If we are prepared to gradually teach our hearts to bear pain and tell ourselves, "I can endure it," we'll discover that our suffering is no longer caused by the challenges we previously faced. Mental training not only helps us get over our present pain. However, it also fortifies our intellect for the future. It doesn't really matter what occurs to us, what matters is how we feel and handle it. When we view challenges as little more than boulders, we could feel depressed and weighty. But if we imagine that rock to be a grain of rice as it happens, we manage to go through it painlessly. One of the most effective strategies to lessen suffering is to practice patience and quiet. It gives us the strength to deal with a variety of challenges in life in a calm and mindful manner. It's crucial to develop an immune to pain in order to survive. We become more resilient and equipped to take on new challenges as we grow accustomed to the struggles we've already faced. That might happen, but merely developing immunity via experience is not enough. However, it also involves realizing that the majority of suffering originates from within us and learning how to change our viewpoint. A pessimistic worldview, a heart full of complaints and fear, that is the primary cause of our sorrow. If we practice mental calmness and change our attitude to one of optimism, there will be less hardship for us. Alternatively referred to as 3 times the misery. Mental training not only helps us get over our present pain, but also gets us ready for whatever obstacles we may face in the future. Consequently, mental training and perspective modification are essential for coping with hardship. It also gives us a means of leading a more tranquil life. We shall experience less suffering when we can master our thoughts, and contentment will rise. Recall that life entails experiencing suffering. Nonetheless, with an optimistic outlook on life and a sharp mind, with greater strength and tranquility than before, we can overcome this.